cái gì có mình bên nữa mà bán bên nữa chỗ họ là đây là quen.
One of the reasons that so much of the past survives in Vietnam is that the foundation of the society remains rice agriculture, a system which has changed little in several thousand years.
The Vietnamese farmer, it is said, gives his face to the earth and his back to the sun. Agricultural production in Vietnam is very much a matter of hard work and good fortune. The cultivation of rice dominates Vietnam, both in the past and in the present. It sets the tempo of life and shapes the landscape. Many argue that it even influences such social norms as relations between the genders and such institutions as the very nature of government. The primary characteristic of rice is that it is the most labor-intensive major crop known to humankind. It produces great food value per unit of land, but at the cost of endless work. Rice is among the most productive crops in the world per unit of land, but it is also extremely labor-intensive. The Vietnamese farmers say that he goes out in the mist and returns in the mist, meaning that he goes out before dawn, works all day, and returns home after dusk. Agriculture in modern Vietnam is still very much like it was in the past, a matter of contradictions and unending cycles. One year a farmer's family can be well off, and the following year experience deprivation and even famine. Vietnam's rice fields are, on the average, less than 1 meter above sea level, and most are within the reach of typhoons. Storm-driven winds and catastrophic floods can destroy a rice crop or an entire village within hours. In each of the closing years of the 20th century, Vietnam lost much of its rice crop, many of its coastal roads, and long sections of the one rail line running from south to north. Hundreds of thousands of people were made refugees, and entire villages were destroyed.
Western influence is everywhere in Vietnam. Even isolated river villages might have a Protestant, or more often, a Catholic church. These modern religious beliefs sometimes coexist uneasily with traditional ones. Saigon, now formerly known as Ho Chi Minh City, was the center of the social and religious life of the anti-communist government of the American ally Ngo Dinh Diem, himself a Catholic, and his successors. For many years after 1975, Catholics could not repair their churches, nor were they completely free to worship. Today, old churches originally built and staffed by French colonialists are being rebuilt. Now the Catholic Church consists largely of urban and upper-class Vietnamese. Vietnam's two great cities, Hanoi, a commercial, cultural, and political center, and Saigon, a vibrant commercial and financial center, are the most modern places in Vietnam.
Many feel that the communists have been particularly bad managers of the modern Vietnamese economy. But once again, this mismanagement was also typical of the traditional governments. Confucians, like communists, did not prize commerce and business and often hampered economic growth with both heavy taxation and official corruption.
They keep changing the currency. The rich people come to poor. That's why, you know, in their people's mind, they don't trust the communists. And the communists don't trust the Viet Kieu because they think we try to escape from them. Of course, we escape from them because we want to be freedom. We want to see the future. Government is not lay out the very clear law for people. That's what they feel. But most of the people I know in Vietnam, if they make a lot of money, they try to send some money to invest over here in case. So a lot of people doing that.
Urban economies still seem very traditional. Many entrepreneurs sell in the street, and these street stores, if successful, move into storefronts. But the economy still seems like so many village markets.
The village economy sometimes seems more humane than our modern, hurried, urban world. Here in Vietnam, behind a booming modern business district, old men still sit in front of temple gates, drink coffee and tea, and admire each other's singing birds, as old men in Vietnam have done since time immemorial. For the Vietnamese, birds are a symbol of many things. They represent the happiness of married love, as well as the beauty of women. But above all, they represent nature. It is an unusual Vietnamese home that does not have many flowering plants, a garden, and if there is an older male in the household to care for it, a singing bird as well.
Some streets in Hanoi specialize in paper products for traditional funerals much of the year. During Christmas and New Year's, they will specialize in elaborate ornaments.
Hanoi was the capital of the French colonial government. Today is it a center of art and culture in Vietnam, as well as the site of famous examples of French colonial architecture and the center of Vietnamese political life. Hanoi's statue of Lenin could be the last such in the world. The fine arts in Vietnam flow quite naturally from the Vietnamese tradition. The essential skill of the Confucian scholar was calligraphy, which demanded total control of the brush and ink. Years were spent learning fine calligraphy because the Vietnamese wrote in Chinese characters until the arrival of the French, who introduced an alphabet to the Vietnamese language. Scholars spent years learning and then their life practicing calligraphy and writing.
One of the most important works of Vietnamese literature is Chuyện Kiều, the story of Kiều. Some Vietnamese can quote the one verse of Chuyện Kiều in any situation of life. So through this work, our people learn how to sacrifice for the others. Mercy, talent, and destiny clash and fight. The blue sea is now thundering where Mulberry Fields used to be. Our hearts suffer painfully from the vicissitude we see. A gift is always received to the detriment of one's destiny.